Okay, tell me when you, let's see. Okay. All right, do you see, there we go. Okay, it's cycling. Do you see that? I don't think it says live yet, does it? Does it say live?
Oh, I see it. It says live now.
All right, let's see. I don't know if. Okay, all right. Okay, I think we're on.
We are on.
Yay, okay, perfect. All righty. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. We'll just wait a couple minutes for others to join. And it looks like we're on. Yeah, we're good. All right, we did it, Tina.
Hey.
So
Awesome.
So there is a delay. So I think it's a 20-second delay. So when we say communicate or anything like that, it's going to be, it'll take a minute for others to see it there. So, yeah. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay. All right, perfect. Well, I think we can go ahead and just get started and go from there. So, all right. So I'm excited to be doing this again with you. Gosh, we did it last, was it last year? The year before? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, time flies. Yeah, so gosh, it's been such a long time, and it was Be Here Now, and it was a different because we didn't, blog talk, you don't have the face, so makes it a little bit easier. I don't have to don't have to brush my hair, but now I do. That's okay. We're evolving. Anyways, I miss it though. You and I oftentimes will just catch up on things, and it's funny because it was like we were doing a podcast when we would talk. It was like we would be spending like an hour, and it's like we just had a show, but nobody was like, we just talked about all these spiritual topics and our development of mediumship, and it's a big journey and it's never ending, and the experiences that we have, and it just really made me feel like I want to get back to doing this. So I'm so excited to be back on with you. So thank you again. So I guess I just want to kind of just for everyone, talk about a little bit what the mission is of the of In the Now podcast and what we're looking to do with this. So it's one of those things where Tina and I, we were talking about it. And it's like last time, we do readings, but we just talk about kind of spiritual based topics that everyone's going through. And I think a lot of times you just don't, when you're developing, you don't always have the outlet or understand what other people are going through. And so I know sometimes, you could do mediumship circles, spirit circles, have soul tribe meetings or whatever. And I just think that's really what I want to create with this community is a community of people who are evolving. And this isn't about this is truly about being in the now, experiencing what you're experiencing. And it's a journey, and it's really not about the destination. It's one of those things with this channel. It's like you and I were talking at the beginning, it's like, I don't know if anyone's gonna, hear it, if there's gonna be, a large audience. It doesn't matter. As long as there's someone who benefits from this, and there's someone who just in general, like raising the vibration, of
right
around us. I think that's so important because there's a lot of things out there to where you can go on and just feel like you're alone. And so to me, this is all about kind of creating a community, just like my channel, you know, creating a community where people can interact and they can just feel like they have someone who's going through a similar thing as you. And if not, it's okay, you won't be judged. It's all about kind of a safe environment that we can develop in. And so when I did, and I thanks to everyone for submitting the feedback on what you'd like to see for the show. So the feedback was, you know, some readings in there, but generally speaking, a lot of people want to learn how to develop mediumship and just, you know, increase their connection to spirit. And I love that. Like when I saw that, I was so happy because I'm like, it's just amazing. It just shows the community and what people are seeking, they want. And I love that because it's all about, to me, it's like there's no one out there who should be really telling you what you should be doing or telling you this is the way, because it's your way. So I know, Tina, you and I have talked about this. Anytime, I mean, we've taken so many classes. It's a journey, right? It's, you know, you do your sort of muggle job or whatever. And then at the end of the day, it's like we do classes, we do meetups, and we do a lot of things to further develop because it's a passion, right? It's something that keeps us going. And I think with that, it's the thing that I've had several teachers, as I know you have as well. And it's one of those things that any good teacher is going to say, look, here's my perspective, but sit with it. After I tell you what my perspective is, sit with it, because it may not be yours. You may not be there ever, or you may not be there now. And I know for me, the focus this year is big time on reading books and just really just evolving and trying to really understand so much more about everything. And there's some books, it's funny, because there's some books where I don't know about you, Tina, and even with Audible books, like whether I'm reading it, I thought it was because my eyes were getting strained when I was reading books that were too complicated. It's like, but even I would swear I was like listening to an Audible book and it was talking about just like brain neuropsychology and stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm so tired. I just can't do it. And it's funny because I put the book down and I was like, I thought I was going to go to bed, and I was like, no, I'm wide awake now.
That's funny.
I don't know. Like, I thought for a while I had like some sort of like, I don't know. I had a sickness or something, but I just realized it's just my brain's way of saying, look, it's not, you can't handle this right now. You're just not there. So, you know, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Do you have a mountain to climb in terms of like you're trying to understand, or what that looks like for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if it's not, if it's something that I just can't process in this moment, it doesn't mean I'm not going to process it later. And I know to, you know, stop whatever that I'm doing. Either I'm too tired or something, and I'm not going to process it. So there's no sense in that moment to, you know, try to retain that information or anything that I'm reading. So just set it down for now, you know.
Yeah. So, okay. It's funny because I just felt like I kind of discovered that recently, and I'm like, okay, so then don't, like, I guess the biggest thing is not judging ourselves, and it is going back to that being in the now, that like in this moment, don't try to take on more than you can take on. Just be mindful of your situation, you know. And I think I could really go into the whole mindfulness, and we'll do that in depth on other shows and really talk about what that looks like. But I'd like to talk a little bit more. Now, I know that some people have watched Be Here Now, but for those who haven't, just a little bit about your background and how you sort of woke again, if you will, because I know a lot of people, it's a journey, like I said, and I think it's not linear. It goes back and forth. So I want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember when I was about 4 years old and communicating with spirit, seeing spirit, yet I just thought everybody could, that kind of thing. And so I knew that, and I always felt that strong desire to help others and save people. And I was always, I mean, just that type of person. And as I got older, my communication with spirit was still there. But in my teenage years, I kind of just shut it down. There was some fear attached. I didn't really understand it. Um, and then there was, religious reasons and my upbringing. And so I basically just shut it down. And then as time went on in my 20s, certain things were happening and I just couldn't really understand it. But I always had a really strong connection with the angels and spirit. And here I was hearing messages and where that thought would pop in my head and where did that come from and, that kind of stuff. And I felt alone because once I realized that not everybody else, I kind of I felt different and I didn't feel like I would fit in. Right. And so I pretty much kept it to myself. Thankfully, my mom is also can communicate with spirit. And so she was my go-to person. And, it's kind of just not something that you talked about or, anything that you shared with
So
anybody.
what was the age that it's interesting that you say that because I do see that where some people like it's around like 4 to 7 or 4 to 5 where they start to like look around and say, okay, this is where I have to start like being a conformist and not be an outlier and start really, what age was that where you started to notice other people that's like, oop, I gotta pull back my free flag or whatever, whatever you want to call it.
Probably like about age, I would say 11.
Okay.
About
Oh,
age,
wow.
so it was a little bit older. It, well, maybe even younger. I mean, let me think back. So probably about age 8, I would say age 8, but I was so free with my mother. And so, you know what I mean? So I
Okay.
was having that communication with her. I said, and what would happen to me a lot too was strongly, I would get like dream visits and I would just have dreams. Like I would dream about something happening to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I would get like this information and I would tell my mother, oh my gosh, I dreamt this. What does this mean? No. And I didn't really understand it. And that's partly why I don't want to dream this. I don't want to even be near it. I don't know what this means. And it was scary. And so that fear was there for sure. I remember telling my best friend at like age 13, I can hear spirit, I can see spirit, I get these images in my mind, and I would describe exactly what I was seeing. And my best friend was like, oh, it's okay, you lost your grandfather or whatever. And there was always like that logical reason.
Right.
And I would say to her, no, I've been like this all my life. Like, you don't understand. I've been like this all my life. But she was accepting, thankfully. And she was like, okay, all right. And as time went on, I would say probably in my 30s, it was when I just would get psychic hits. I would get information. I'd know who was calling on the phone, and it just things. And I'd play games like which elevator is going to open as you're standing. Okay. And I was like, oh my goodness, like this is really happening. And again, I kind of kept it to myself. Only my close friends and not even my family knew except my mother, and I would just be quiet about it. And then probably in my 40s, I would say my mid 30s, my dad passed away.
Okay.
And that was one of the I guess the thing that broke me open. And it was, I would get dream visits of my dad. I would smell his cologne. I mean, and I didn't know yet at that time, is this real? Is this my imagination? And I started exploring and started reading books and just started educating myself a little bit. And then of course I had another tragedy years later when I lost my fiancé suddenly.
Right.
And that is what opened me up completely. And so, and it just took off from there. I just started learning about metaphysical healing, different things, mediumship, psychic ability. And I just, started taking courses and you know, and I had different teachers along the way, and some of the things did resonate, some of the things didn't resonate, and like you said, it's your own unique, you know what I mean, uniqueness of things. You know, we all connect differently too, and
Right.
once I started understanding that, it's like I was like reborn again. You know, I was my whole belief system changed. Anything that was, you know, in that foundation of my belief system just like crumbled. And you know, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm so ever grateful for spirit to giving me new eyes to see.
Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting, you know, but it's almost like there's two sides to every coin. And so as you're talking about that, I'm like, oh yeah, totally. But then there's also that aspect that it's like you have to come out. You have to, you at some point, and it's like you feel like you're not being true to yourself. And it's like, it's funny because sometimes I'm like, when I step into my kind of spiritual stuff, I'm like, who cares? Like we're all spiritual beings, just having a human experience. But we are consciously aware, like you were when you were what, 8, that not everyone is open to having these discussions out loud. And again, that's why I want this channel. I want people to feel that they're not like there's some people that, you know, I do readings with people all over, and there's certain parts of the country, I'll say, that are like, you know, it's like there's not the openness to that it's, you know, it's,
Right.
and so it's one of those things where I wish I would have had more of that. You know, it was one of those, I felt like when I was sort of more opening up to it or something, it was like you're asking around, do you know anyone where I could start to study this? Like, do you know anyone where I could like you know, talk to about, it's like, about what? Nothing. You know, so it's so funny because I mean, so I guess I'll talk a little bit about my story. So for me, I when I was young, I had very similar experiences. It was, I remember, you know, we would basically on the weekends go hang out at the library and just like, we would, you know, as a family disperse into our own areas. And I always read the books on the afterlife, like NDEs. I was fascinated. Sylvia Brown, I always read that. Embraced by the Light. It was funny because it was a very like elementary type of read for me. Like where I was at, it was perfect. Like I look back now and I'm like, that's such an easy read. But then it was like a complex, and that to me, that book was, for me, it was big because it was like, oh my gosh, I knew it. I knew all the stuff she was saying. It was just like, it was validation. And I would, you know, watch Crossing Over, Bewitched, all of those shows that just talked about the, you know, the uncommon things that other people don't talk about. And so I felt like that was me being able to have an outlet for those things and kind of study them. And so really, yeah, so really my whole life, that's where growing up, I was very much, and something around the age of 12 for me is when I really started to, I mean, I was using tarot cards and just like trying to, I remember one time in school that it was show and tell, and I brought tarot cards. And it's funny because looking back, like where I'm at now, I probably wouldn't have done it, but I brought them with the thing of like, oh, look at these, what are these? It's like, so I wasn't like, I don't know. It was a bit naive, but it was perfect because I didn't know when they didn't know. So anyway, but yeah, it was, I just, all of these things about myself, and I've always had prophetic dreams, always. And I noticed for me, when I don't connect with spirit and I don't spend more time with them than I should. Now, I meditate every day, but there's times where I don't meditate to the extent that I should, and they'll come in my dreams. And that's, again, a whole nother topic there. But I would always have dreams of things that would happen. And it was very vivid, I mean, like it was like an overlay of life being put in my dream. And it was exact, the colors. And I had to study that too, because the colors are different when you have a prophetic dream. They're vibrant. It's all like, it was like, no, that actually happened. And so anyway, so yeah, a lot of those experiences, I dreamt about all my kids before they were born. And literally it was just crazy. And my little boy, I was like, when's the boy coming in? I think my second daughter jumped him in terms of her, because I dreamt about my daughter, my son, and then I thought for sure, and they're like, no, it's a girl. I'm like, so she snuck in there, and I know why now. But anyway, I feel like she really kind of came in to help me reawaken. I don't feel like she was supposed to be next, but there was just certain things happening in our lives. And so, but it's funny, when I brought her home, I dreamt about the boy again. I'm like, okay, he's there, he's coming. But anyway, so yeah, fast forward, getting married, having children, all that stuff, you conform to life, and, you fill the roles of what's expected, right? And my middle daughter had some, from the moment she was born, she was just never like, she was just very awake, is all I can say. Like literally, like, the kids, you'd put them in the bassinet and they'd fall asleep. She was always like, nope, she was very woke. And so, we had a lot of, she was just hypersensitive to things. And so fast forward 10 years, 10 years of trying to fix her. Like, it was like, what is wrong? What is happening here? Because she was just very sensitive. And finally, like our last straw, when my son was finally born, I was like, I've got to get this under control. I've got to figure out what this is, because it was creating, I'm very honest and transparent. Just the fact that our marriage survived. It was a lot. It was heavy, and we didn't know what was happening. We didn't know what to do. I just reached out to everyone, and it was all for, like, it just felt futile. People are turning us away. They wanted to put her on antidepressants at 8 years old, and I was like, and I felt like, yeah, something was off with that. So anyway, so yeah, we finally, when she was 10 years old, after the birth of my son, took her to a neuropsychologist, and he kind of talked about like auras, and I was like, what is this guy talking? He's a doctor, he takes insurance, and he's talking about auras. So I was like, what is happening? And he basically, after a series of brain tests, diagnosed her, and I forget the medical term, and I was like, can you just, what do you mean? And he's like, she's psychic. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, so he just said, think about it. He goes, look back over the years, every time. So basically, she would go out into the outside world. She remembers very vivid events from preschool when the teacher, she told me like the backstory, like the teacher didn't come in and tell you all of her life, but she knew at like the age 4 or 5 what happened to her teacher. Her teacher got in a fight with her daughter, came to school and was angry at the kids, and she felt it. And she'd come home and just unleash on us all the time. And the school was like, she'd keep it under wraps when it was school. So they're like, no, she's good. I'm like, no, she's not. She comes home and it's crazy town. Like, it's too much. And that was her way. She didn't know how to process the world outside, right? She's an empath. She didn't know, it was too much for a child to take on. And further exacerbated by the fact that her parents, her family was like, she was unleashing on us. And then we were like, it was a perfect storm. It was just too much. And so it was crazy, because once he gave us that diagnosis, it was like, oh, I can work with this. I was like, you're like, so it's not enough to do it for me, but if I have to re-engage and go back to what I sort of left behind to conform to society standards, then I'll do it for my daughter. But it wasn't enough for me. And so that's really why I believe she kind of like, no, I'm coming in next. We need to figure this out here. And so it's crazy too, because looking back, it was age 33 for me, and people are like, the significance with like, age 33. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy now. But anyway, so that's the age when I took her to some mediums and classes, and that was it. She was like, at that point, it was like, okay, this was never about fixing you. It was really about really understanding who we are individually. And so she kind of stepped back, lived her life as a child, continues on, and it's life changing to me, because now I'm like, I put it aside for so many years because I was afraid of judgment. But when it comes to your children, you'll do anything. So we're all it's funny too, because my husband, he sees them. Actually, all my kids do. I don't want to go there, but they see with their physical eyes, spirit. And my husband, he was raised Mormon, and he from a young age had saw them and never, it's funny because I was always fascinated. So I would talk to him about this stuff. We would like go to haunted places and like feel energy, like just talk about it, but never, the whole time he would be like, there's nothing here. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, and I'm like, you're just not getting into it. He's like, no, there's nothing here. 17 years like into our relationship. And when this happened with my daughter, he was like, I've seen spirits since I was a kid. I'm like, what? 17? But he was afraid to tell me as well because of fear of judgment. I'm like, did you? It's like, so it's a very, so it's changed all of our lives. Yes, we're very much more open. It's talking about the other side of the coin though, we're very connected. We have a deeper understanding. I'm very proud and appreciate the fact that I'm able to raise my children as this person versus who I was. But I also am aware that in some cases, unfortunately, my kids are in some ways judged for who their mom is and chooses to be. And so some people think it's great, others not so much. And that's a little heavy on me sometimes. But I know that, in 5 to 10 years, the world will be very different and more receptive to this. And that's what I'm saying. Hopefully this channel, like getting more people to understand and awaken to their gifts and like to know that nobody here is special. We all have the ability to connect, but it's just a matter of accepting, embracing both sides of yourself, and letting go of the fear, because a lot of people have fear attached to it. So,
right.
Yeah, so definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's there's definitely a lot of energy attached to it, but you just have to kind of be able to process it in a way that that makes sense there. So yeah, so I think we've got some people on. I know that I did want to do, I did get a couple of comments through Instagram for readings, just kind of feedback there. And so I think, let's see here, I'm going to go see who's out there. And if we want to do some readings, or if there's anyone, we can just kind of say what we're getting, or I don't know how you want to do this. This is our first time, so it's definitely a trial and error type of situation. So we'll see what we've got. So I do have, so one of the questions that came through on Instagram here, and I know this is from William N92. And there was actually 2 parts, but I didn't catch the second part, but I'll just kind of tune in and see what we've got. So William N92 was asking about general romance, and it says easing the flow, and I didn't catch the last part of it. So there's something about, so maybe you can just, whatever else you get around the energy for William and 72. Is it 72 or 92?
90, yeah.
92.
So his question is just a general reading about romance. Did I hear you right?
General romance, and just around kind of, there was a second part about easing the flow, and I don't know if, let me see, yeah, just around easing the flow. And
easing the flow, okay.
It did, yeah, there was a second part to it, but I didn't capture it. So like whatever other feelings, energies that you're getting there as well.
Okay. So, the first thing that I pick up is I feel that this person is not in a relationship at this moment, because I do see him standing alone. However, I also do see somebody else stepping into the picture, and I am getting where it's like 6 months out, because I am seeing the number 6. I cannot see the face of the person, but there is somebody that's standing there. What I can say is that because I feel like he's just not putting himself out there enough, and I feel like there's a little bit of hesitation within himself. And so I feel like if he just musters up that courage and kind of gets me, because my body wants to move forward with it, and I can feel his energy and wanting to move forward with that, but there's that hesitation. So if he could just drop the hesitation, build on that confidence, I feel like there's, it's going to change, that energy is going to shift for him and change. And I do see that happening.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so what I get around that, so I do feel a feeling of there being, it's weird because I'm seeing someone coming from the back, and whenever I see someone coming from the back, that's my sign that they're in it might be someone from the past, they might know this person, but I feel like it's someone that they would already have a connection with. And I do feel like I do get that as well in terms of the number of months but I do feel like they're in their area already, meaning that they have an interaction with this person. I feel like you might already know who this person is. It might be like a friend of a friend, or there might be a connection there, but I feel like I keep wanting to go back in terms of that connection, not back in a negative, but back in a, like we used to hang out or something. And I do feel like there was always a feeling of a connection there. So the other thing I do want to say as well, I don't know, I feel like there might be a transition for you in terms of a move or something. Like there might be like, I don't know if you currently live with family or what that is and you're looking to make a transition, but I feel like this feeling of you sort of separating your energy a little bit, I'll say it that way. I feel like that might be, it's almost like you're trying to kind of pull back from your surroundings of what you're dealing with now, the people that are around you, and not in a bad way, but more to find independence for yourself. So I feel like it's really you sort of separating yourself and going into another level there. So it feels like it's going to be really good, but I do feel a little bit of a shy and a trepidation around it. Like that feels very like, it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier, that like, oh, do I do it? Do I like that like dipping my toes, but I don't know if I want to jump in yet. So I just see that big time for you. And I just feel like you just have to kind of go with it and let it go. There's another female that it's funny because I'll just kind of see images coming in and I see this other female that's over here as well that she might be encouraging you or kind of like busting your chops, I want to say, about certain things. So I just feel like just go with it. No fear, just move forward there. So all right. So I did get another, do you have anything else or was that it on that?
Nope, that's it. That's all I
Okay,
got.
perfect. Okay. All right. So I don't see anyone. Is there any, like I see we've got some people on. If anyone has any questions or anything, feel free to pop it in there. I think we can see, I think let me see if there's any comments here. This is our first time doing this, obviously. So, so do you see any, I don't know if you're looking at the comments section there, but do you see any there? Are you able to see any?
I'm not able to see any, actually.
Okay. So I don't know if I even have that
Oh,
enabled.
Here we go. I'm sorry. I see it now.
Do you see the comment? I don't even know if I have that enabled. So let me see here. Yeah, I don't know. Do you see any comments on there? Learning as we go, folks. Let me just try and see here. Okay. All right, perfect.
Okay, now I can see. Awesome.
Okay, all right. If anyone's out there, can someone just say hey or something? Can you like I just want to see if the live chat's working. It may not be. We've got some people on, but I just don't see. I don't know if I was supposed to enable something and I didn't. So just let me know if anyone's trying and they can't. I want to make sure too if anyone has any. Oh my gosh, you guys! I'm so sorry. I see them here. Okay, did you? I totally okay. All right, I've got them now. I've got two screens up, so I apologize. I see them now, so I thank you guys. All right. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm engaging over here now. So, okay. Oh, my ascension light. Oh, hi. Oh my gosh, Naomi. Hey. Let's see, Michelle, Linda, Lady Che, Amy. Hi, Amy. Oh my gosh, spiritual copy. Yay. All right, awesome. Linda. All right, perfect. Okay, so we've got, can you see them, Tina? If not, then I'll just kind of, okay. So we've got a couple here. So I'm going to go, let's see. Okay. And Yoko, thank you. I'm glad we're back as well. Appreciate that. Okay, so Lady J. All right, so Lady J is asking, what does Spirit want me to be aware of? And where the heck did I put my text savers I've been looking for? Maybe that was on purpose. No, like mine's in a stack. I'll get to them when I want to. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so are you getting anything for Lady J? Lady J, so it's interesting. I'll just really quickly what I'm getting. I'm getting, I'll grab some water because my throat, there might be something there. So Lady J, I am getting, first off, I'm getting there immediately. I just see a man with a mustache. I feel like his energy is coming in, and I'm trying to, sometimes it's hard because as mediums, you can connect with incarnate or discarnate. So we could connect with any spirits, whether they're here or not, but there is a male that has a mustache. And I feel like, I don't know if this would be your father. Is your father crossed over? Would you understand this, Lady J? Because he's making me feel like, I feel like this might be a father for you. There's like a father spirit crossed over. Because he keeps doing this to your head. He keeps touching your head like this as to acknowledge you as being a little girl. And so I just want to acknowledge that as well. And I feel like there might be something around like a brother figure for you as well that I'm getting, that's coming in, the energy that's coming in. I'm sorry, I don't feel like he's crossed over. I feel like there's a brother like energy. This could be a friend for you, but it definitely feels like there's a father energy that's crossed over. I get this. So it could be a father, it could be a grandfather. So that's kind of how they come in there. So no, my dad isn't. Okay, there's a male figure that's coming forward. So this might be your grandfather, but he's coming forward. So let me kind of tune in here and see what he has to say. It's interesting. He's showing me the kind of the sign of a sunset, and it feels like it's a little, it's like the dawning of a new day. And I keep seeing like the sun setting and the feeling of things sort of, it feels like there's certain things in your life that you might be transitioning away from. That's not a bad thing. It's just the feeling of like kind of going away from things that no longer serve you. Yeah, they're showing like a broom now coming in and kind of clearing energies for you. So, okay. I'm not sure who this is. Does anyone else resonate with there's a man with a mustache that keeps coming in. He's just like patting this little girl on the head. Let me see her. I'm just asking if there's anything else that he has to say here. Okay. Yeah, and so the feeling, I'm just going to keep giving this because since we do have a lot of people here, it might be for someone else, but that's what I'm getting. So there's a feeling of clearing of the energy and bringing in a new. I also want to talk about, there's the month of May or the number 5, that would be significant as well. And let me see here. And I actually feel like there might be a connection with someone in Nevada. So that I just heard, so this is part of the process, right? Sometimes you think you're crazy and all of this stuff, and then it just, does that make sense for anyone? I don't know, Lady J, if that was for you or if it would have been for someone else. Okay. All right, so it's kind of a delay here. Are you getting anything, Tina, for Lady J or anyone?
Yeah. I'm not getting anybody in spirit that's stepping forward for Lady J, but I am seeing images of just somebody walking back and forth. Like there's so much that, that's being juggled here. I am getting like messages like slow down, more in balance, do some more grounding. It just feels like there's so many open windows and so many things going on at once. And although great at multitasking and juggling, but I do feel the burnout with that. So I just want to tell just to slow down a little bit and just take it as it comes. Okay. And that's the message that I have for you. Okay. Just slow down a little bit.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Okay. And I'm sorry, this guy with the mustache, he's showing me a motorcycle as well. he's showing me there's a motorcycle. I feel like there may be a connection with the name D as well, a D name. So sometimes we get passersby that come in. It may not be for, I don't know, but there's this guy that's coming forward here. So let me see, does anyone recognize that? Okay, let me just see if he has anything else. If not, I'll ask him to pull his information or pull him. He's also showing me the month of August. There's a significance with someone with the month of August. So, okay. So, okay, my ascension and light. Yes, Dale. Okay, would there have been a connection? Does he have a mustache? And would there have been a motorcycle connection with him? Okay, perfect. Okay. All right. So, let me just see here. Okay, I'm just asking him what he has to say here. He's also acknowledging there's a transition for you as well. Okay. Okay, Linda. Okay, perfect.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
Okay, so sometimes, just so you guys know, sometimes what will happen, spirit will, they will bring in multiple energies. They'll meld their energies because they know that they want to be able to get in and make the best use of everyone's time. I know that sounds weird. Some people are like, but I thought that was for me. Whoever it resonates with, it is for you, because that's what spirit does. Okay. All right. So yeah, he's coming in closer now and I'm getting a lot of chills as well. I also, okay, I know it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. Yeah, I totally forgot. So he's acknowledging, he's giving roses. So he's he's giving roses as well. And I do acknowledge the feeling of, now I know one of you said there was an ex situation, and it's weird because he's like taking the roses, and I feel like this feeling of like, that's something he may have not done in this life, or he may have broken promises. And so he's acknowledging that as well. And he's just wanting to bring peace and comfort. He's also acknowledging a younger girl. There's a younger girl though, as well. There's a younger girl that's connected here as well that he wants to acknowledge. And the younger girl too would be going to school. There's something with school and a transition that's occurring there as well. So he's just acknowledging that. I'm just trying to see if he has anything else to say. He's just giving a lot of love, and he also is though acknowledging there would be a connection with grandparents. So it feels like he would be acknowledging that the grandparents are passed and he's there with them, but he's acknowledging that as well. And I feel like they would have had a connection. So, so let me just see what else. Yeah, he's just giving lots of love. Yeah. Okay, so love, and then and there would have been also some cigarette smoking or some smoking. And I feel like he's showing me like he's kicked the habit, like the feeling of like, I don't do that anymore. It's like I like it was one of the things that you may have nagged him on, or it would have been a thing that bothered you about him. And so I feel like he's acknowledging, obviously, like that's, you know, I'm not doing that anymore. So I'm clean. And it's funny because he's kind of got a funny personality, and he's like doing this. He's like, I'm all better now. So I feel like he would have had an illness or something that would have taken him early. So, so that's what I'm getting there as well. So, all right, so he's pulling his energy back. Okay, all right, let's see just gonna see what else we've got. All right. Okay, so I'm just going back up here and seeing, okay. All right, so, and I apologize if I'm missing anyone here. All right, so Dub C, I would love to hear what Spirit has to say about my love relationship and future. So we're in season of the day, yes. Okay, Dub C. So what are you getting anything for Dub C?
Not at this moment. I can't see the comments. I'm trying to.
Okay.
Look at the comments here. Let me try to find her.
Okay. Let's see. I do feel like, is there someone at it feels like a place that you would go to on a consistent basis. And actually I'm going to pull cards for this as well. that you might be like a work situation where there might be someone that's around you that you would be interested in, because I feel like that might be something that's coming in for you. And that's for Deb C. Let me see her. Hi, Black Barbie. All right. Okay. Let me see here. I'm not seeing anything, but I'll pull a card for you anyways and see what we've got. Okay. All right, wisdom. So I feel like there's some, I feel like whoever, it's funny because this individual that I'm seeing here, I do feel like it's a smart person. I feel like they have a lot of intelligence and wisdom behind them. And so that's kind of validated with the cards there. And I feel like this person you would be seeing like often. I feel like you might be seeing them at work, or you might be kind of around them. But that's kind of what I'm getting around that. And this card came up to perception. And so to me, this is really about connecting and bringing in that energy for yourself. So I do feel like that'll be coming in for you. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so Dubsy's saying not anyone they can think of, but just keep your eye out, because I do feel like it's someone that would be in your space that you would be seeing. It's not on a consistent basis, but I do feel like that person might be coming in for you. So, all right, let's see what else we've got here.
Hi, Yoko. I just saw your comment. It's good to see you on here.
Okay.
I do have somebody stepping forward.
Oh, go ahead, please. Yes.
Yeah, I have, I don't know if anybody can connect to this, but this energy is coming at me here on my right side. He is a gentleman. What he's showing me is he's got a wood burning stove. And he's getting the wood. He has a tan jacket on. He's really proud of his jacket. He's showing me like the fur that's around the jacket. So, and a flannel shirt. He makes me feel like he's a father figure. He also could be a grandfather, but like a father to you. Can anybody here connect to that?
Okay, it's a little slow here on this. Hi, Lisa.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining. Hi, Beth. All right. Okay. Hi, Amy. All right. And it might be someone who comes by later. So Spirit is very intelligent, and they never waste an opportunity to connect. So there might be, it might not be anyone here. Let's see. Oh, Michael, hi.
Hi, Michael.
All right.
Okay. Let me tell a little bit more information about him, because he's not going away here.
Okay.
He just keeps showing me the stacking of the wood and putting it in the fire. I do feel that he had a cough, because I can hear him cough, and he's, as he's stacking the wood, he definitely puts his hand on his chest here, and he's just showing me that he had a cough, this persistent cough. I would also know him to have very large hands, as he's showing me his hands, and I could see that his hands are roughed up a little bit. He looks like he would have a mustache, or at one point, because he's going like this, and it looks like something that he did. It's kind of like, I don't want to call it a tick, but it's just like self-soothing is what he would do, and he would like play with his mustache. So that's what he's showing me. Can anybody connect to that? And I also want to connect, he's talking about, this doesn't mean it's his name, but it could be somebody in the living as well that he's trying to, give me information for evidence. But I am hearing like a Jack, Jim, James, something like that, like a J name, another male. Can you resonate with that or connect to that?
My ascension and light, it looks like that makes sense for her. Let's see, what else are you getting? Oh, that's funny. Okay, yeah, she's saying yes.
Yes, okay. So he's stopping by. And again, I feel like this would be like grandfather, but like a dad to you. And because he's adamant on showing like the protection, the love. He's just, just a big armed man is what he's showing me with hugs. Jimmy. Oh, perfect. Okay. Jim. And I did hear Jim. It was like a Jack, Jim, that kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
Perfect. He
Okay.
just wants to send his love and come forward here. And just, just he shows me this big smile now as I'm talking. He's just very happy for that connection. Lots of love to you. And I feel like there's something significant also with the month of April. I don't know if there's, because I'm seeing balloons, so I don't know if it's somebody's birthday or anniversary, but he just wants to acknowledge that, okay? And I'll leave that with you, okay?
Perfect. And Michael, are you a medium? I'm going to say, yeah, I think you are. I think you're an amazing medium, and definitely
yes, you are.
Your skills will go well beyond connecting with spirit. So that's a funny thing too, is that a lot of people, when you start this path, you might be able to connect with spirit, but you might end up doing healings. That might be an area where you really find a deeper connection. So it's going to be different from everyone. Okay. So, all right. So I do have a female that's coming forward. And she's definitely a grandmother. She just came in really strong, like, whoa, okay. And I feel like she would have been able to take her teeth out. Like there's a grandmother that would have, maybe that's a lot of grandmothers. But I feel like there's something with their teeth, and there might be an H name that's connected to her as well. And so I feel like I'm getting this here. Let me see here. What else is she saying? Let me just ask her what else. And there might be a Jennifer that's connected. So I'm not saying that that's her name, but I feel like there might be a Jennifer either here or a Jennifer that would be connected, but I'm getting that name as well. Does that make sense to anyone? She just came in. She's a very strong, like, woman that's coming in, a grandmother energy that's coming in here. Oh my gosh. Okay, my ascension. Okay. I noticed that, like, I'm seeing my hands flying. Okay, perfect. Okay, so and I feel like there would have been a strong heritage. I don't know if she was German or what this is, but I feel like there's a strong, like, there's a strong cultural, okay, perfect. So she was, okay. Yeah, so she's really coming in, and she's like, I don't know if this is sort of her way of kind of doing a classic, like, she's coming in like with a rolling pin, and she feels like she would have been someone that would have been a baker or something, but she was just a really strong personality. Oh, lost sound. Okay. So I'll just keep giving you what I'm getting. I know that you lost sound, but I'll just give you what I've got here. She has an accent too. I feel like she's coming through with a thick accent or something. She's bringing in that cultural experience here. And I'm just asking her what specifically she wants to say here. I feel like there's some things. She's showing me a car, and sometimes a car is literally a car, but there might be a road trip or something. Okay, you're back. There might be a travel. I see transition, so that could literally be a travel, like you're moving somewhere, or there's something about transition that's occurring for you. But I feel like this is much more than a physical transition. I feel like it's something where it's transition within you as well. So there's a lot of things that are moving ahead for you, but it's going in the right direction. But sometimes it's one of those things. She's making me feel like, okay, it is repeating info. Oh, she's okay. I've read for her before. So are you still though going into this? Because she's making me feel like she makes me feel like you are moving in a direction that it feels uncomfortable for you, like you don't know the destination, but you're still going. So I don't know when I would have read for you before, but have you been going through this process for some time then? Does that make sense? Okay. So that's what I'm getting. So it feels like I'll just, because this is on a delay here. So, oh my God, what did I miss? Oh, I don't know what's happening right now. So all I'm going to say is that I just feel like there's this moving forward energy, and I feel like this feeling of I'm driving and I don't know where I'm going, but she's saying just enjoy the ride, because I feel like there's certain things that you're going through that are going to be happening for you. And I feel like at times you're really uncomfortable, to the point where I get that nauseous energy where it's like, oh, I'm not comfortable with what's happening. Keep going forward. Okay, perfect. Okay, so she's definitely saying, this is just Spirit's way of saying, look, we know it's happening. This is what's supposed to be happening. Just keep going. So just know that, oh, and she's also saying, and it sounds like I don't know if you just asked the question, sometimes Spirit will ask it when you're asking it or whatever, but she is telling me that I feel like there's romance on that path as well for you, but there's certain things in front of you that you need to get to before you get to that point. So I don't know if you're already coupled with someone, but I feel like that's coming into and it might be, if you're already with someone, it's going to be amplified further. So that's down your path as well. So yeah, so she's just sending you a lot of love. So thank you for that. Okay, are you getting anything else? Let me see.
No, but I was connecting with that, what you just said with that love.
Yeah, it's funny. She said that. I just asked her because I could hear it's like she was laughing and saying like she's wanting to know, so tell her. It's funny. Sometimes Spirit will ask in their head and immediately Spirit will answer me because the person asked. So it's kind of cool. That's awesome. Thank you so much. So just know that it is coming, and she's definitely she's along the ride with you. So, and she's someone you want to have with you because she's feisty. She can take out those roadblocks along the way for you for sure. So, oh, that's sweet. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got Michelle Caprito. I'm open to hearing messages from Spirit. Okay. And then Jody, are you drawn to any one of that? My entire life has been changing now. Any messages for me? Okay. Let me see here. Okay.
Let's see.
I'm drawn. Okay, Jody. Would you understand? There's a energy of a male that's stepping forward, and he's got a bigger belly, and I feel like that sometimes they'll come with something that's sort of prominent for them, and he's showing me like a little bit of a bigger belly. I feel like it would be like a father. So I don't know if this is your father or your grandfather, but there's a father that's coming, energy that would be stepping forward for you. And I feel like he was someone that may have not always been around as much. And so you'd kind of be like, why is he coming forward? Like, I don't know, like we didn't really have a close relationship, but he's stepping forward. Would you understand this? And he's pointing to his ear right now. And I don't know if he actually, it's funny, I don't know if he actually, I'm asking, it's like, is he telling me? That's kind of weird. I don't know if he would have had like a father. Okay. This is weird. Did he have hair in his ear? I mean, I know guys too, but he's empathy. He keeps pointing to his ear, and it's like I feel like it's more of like the like there's something with the ear. Like I don't know if he had a hearing aid. He had a lot of hair in here, but he's bringing me to the ear. And so he's also acknowledging your mother, so he would be connected to your mother. So I don't know if this is your mom's friend that has passed over. Okay, so no on the ear. I don't know if that was what it is, but he's bringing me to the ear. I'm just going to keep going and see what he says here, because he's making me feel like there's some. Okay, so would you understand? He's making me feel like my entire life is changing now. That makes sense, because he's showing me that you are sort of. I'm just asking him for clarity if you're walking away from this or if this is okay. He's telling me that there's a lot of things from your past, emotional. Okay, perfect. So your grandfather. There's a lot of stuff in your past that you're trying to find distance from. And as I'm saying that, I'm getting kind of really emotional right now, because I just want to start, like, I feel it. And I feel a lot of empathy right now for some of the things that you've gone through and the things that you're trying to, he's making me feel like, okay, he did have ear problems. Okay, got it. Okay, perfect. So that's just his way of acknowledging the ear. Okay. So, I'm getting a lot of chills. He's coming really close to me right now. Okay, so he's acknowledging, I just feel like there's a lot of emotions from your past that you've sort of turned away from in some ways. Like I feel like and you're kind of walking away, but here's the dilemma. I feel like it's one of those things. Do I completely disconnect from these emotions from the past, or do I go back in and try to heal them? And it's more about sort of reframing some of the situations in your life as well. Okay, your husband died in November. Okay, so you might be bringing him in here. Okay, would you understand the connection with regrets associated to your husband as well, regarding some of this emotions from the past? And there's also a dynamic, gosh, there's a lot to unpack here. So he's making me feel like there's some regrets from the past in terms of, now did your husband die of cancer as well? I just heard cancer. So there's someone that would have passed from cancer as well. So he's making me feel like there was some regrets towards the situation and these things that you're disconnecting from. I feel like, okay, so he did. Okay, so I'm so sorry for your loss. I definitely feel the heavy and the emotions attached to it. And I just know that they're there with you and they're in support of you. This is weird. I feel your husband's energy is coming forward, and he's showing me a parachute, like one of those, like back in like it's like a parachute is all I can say. I can't think of what I'm trying to say, but it's like one of these things. Okay. So, and he's making me feel like it's almost like the big top, right? Like the, what do you call it? I lose track of what simple things are. Big top, I don't know. Anyway, like but I feel like you're also going through, it feels like there's a little bit of fallout left from his passing is all I'm going to say. And so I feel like there's something involving a mother, and there's just a little bit of the crazy energy right now is all I can say. Carnival, thank you. Yes, circus. Okay. Yes, but it's that energy. Thank you. That's what I'm getting. It's like that carnival, circus, like all of that stuff is what I'm getting. And he's showing me that, and he's just making me feel like he's working through that with like trying to help. Because I don't know if there would have been something with his mother or your mother, but I feel like there's some conflict there as well that he's trying to kind of mend the energies around that as well. So it's just this feeling of loss and the feeling of not really willing to accept that in certain ways, but having to move on. So I just want to give you that as well. He's giving you a single red rose and just acknowledging you, but he's cutting off the thorns. And so, so that's symbolic. They don't usually cut off. That's kind of an interesting. So he's just giving you a lot of love. Now, do you have a daughter, or who would be the young girl as well, Jody? Oh my gosh. Okay. His dad. That's why. That's interesting. That's okay. Yeah, his dad was a clown. That's interesting. Okay, so, but he also is making me feel it's a little bit of a circus, which makes sense if his dad was a clown. Okay, so just know that he's comforting of the situation. I'm sorry, one other thing. He's bringing up the feeling of like, did you recently take off your ring, or have you been thinking about like, do I keep it on? Do I take it off? He makes me feel like there was a struggle around that. 3 daughters. Okay. So he's making me feel like there's the question around when is the right time, or the thoughts around it, or the feelings. So he's just saying, do what you feel is right. Okay. So he's saying, do what you feel is right. And he says it's, there's no timeline to healing, and that just know that that he just loves you. And but these girls are his. I feel like there's one in particular that would have been really, it's like there was a very deep connection with one of his daughters. Like, I don't know if he looked like her or what that is, but there's something very significant about one in particular that he's acknowledging. They may have shared a birthday or a name as well. So I just want to acknowledge that. And he's just giving you a lot of love and support, and just know that he's around you for sure. So thank you so much for that. Sable, my oldest. Okay, perfect. And I'm so sorry for your loss. I know that's hard. Do you have anything else, Tina?
You had asked about Michelle. She had commented, is there anything from spirit? And when I looked at her picture, it just instantly, I saw somebody with like a long dress, and I definitely get like that healing vibe from her. I don't know if I feel like she's doing this work. I feel definitely a connection. I'm not sure if that's so. However, I am drawn to tell you to get into some healing work if she isn't already doing that, because I am feeling like her energy is so calm. And the other thing that they're showing me is, I don't know if she's into photography, but I am hearing like a camera go, and I'm seeing pictures, nature pictures, and even with people, and I hear like children with laughter. So I don't know if she's doing that, or it's like a hobby of hers or a passion of hers, but I am picking up on that as well. So hopefully that resonates with you, but I am picking up on a major healing vibe with her. And I'll leave that with you. And there's one more thing. I mean, right away I saw, let me look at the name here, because as you were reading and scrolling through, was, let's see here, Priestess of Gaia. Her question is, any messages for me? I have been developing stronger psychic abilities and trying to find the next thing I will be developing and how. And the first thing that came in was BAM, mediumship. To dive into those clairs and to get in and to just fine tune those clairs immediately. When I tuned into her energy on a soul level, that's the very first thing. I am seeing it like wide open. And I would definitely set those intentions out as far as teachers that are coming. Seek out some teachers as well, reputable teachers that can help you fine tune your gift. And so I'll leave that with you as well.
Perfect. Okay. Let me, while I was kind of tuning into Michelle's energy as well. So Michelle, with you, I don't know, I'm just trying to, I'm not sure what this is. Do you have a friend that's crossed over that would be in spirit, a male that's crossed over? It would be like a friend, or like it's kind of coming in on the side for you. So it could be a friend, a brother type energy, a cousin. It could be at that level. Would you understand that? And I'll just wait while she's confirming that, because I'm getting this man that's coming in on the side of her. It could be a friend or something like that, but he's coming. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I feel like he would have been a friend that you would have like there's a banter or something. It feels like he's a very supportive energy, but I just feel like he's over supporting you and trying to kind of help you with what you're doing. I do get a ton of creative energy for you. I don't know if you're actually like it's almost like I see you in and it doesn't have to come in the form of painting, but it's like I see you're an artist in a sense where you could it's like I see you in this room and your walls are just filled with your art and your gifts, right? What you give to this world. And I feel like it's one of those things where it's like you haven't exposed it to the world outside, but I feel like that's coming for you. And I feel like he's giving you some confidence in which to do that, because I feel like he would have been connected to you in this way, or he would have known your abilities and your desires, like your heart's desires to be able to help people, or like really, if he didn't then in this physical life, he knows it now. And so he's really helping try to push you forward and make sure that that you go in that direction. Let me see here. And I feel like there would have been 3 of you that would have hung out with him. There's 3. I'm seeing you, him, and there's another person he wants to acknowledge. And he's kind of showing me like it's like 3 hearts together and this feeling of connectedness between the 3 of you. And so he's just showing me the bond. There might be something symbolic too to the kind of the Trinity or the triangle, like those things. But I feel like that's significant for you as well. And the other thing I would say too is I'm getting stuff with the chakras for you. And so working on that, I'm getting the midsection specifically around like the sacral area and the solar plexus. I feel like if you can kind of, okay, you're in love with his best friend. Okay, that's cool. So he's just putting a lot of love around that. And so I just feel like the solar plexus and the sacral area, those are kind of the areas where I feel like if you can sort of work through those, it just helps you to be able to put your gift out to the world in a different way, but do it in a way that you're comfortable and you don't really, it's kind of like, here's who I am to this world. And I, no apologies for it. So whatever this is, go do it, because it sounds like it's going to be amazing. So let me just see what else here. Oh, Black Barbie, I'm glad that you Finally got in. I'm sorry, I don't know what the issue would have been there. Let me see. Okay, there was one other. Okay, so Guy, I wanted to answer that one as well. And let me see here. Okay. Yeah, I do feel like for you, there's, I mean, obviously I do get the deep connection with nature and the feeling of, it's weird. It's almost like I'm seeing chimes and this feeling of like, there's something with you where you can connect on a deeper level through music and sound vibrations. So it would be really good for you to be able to kind of bring through that energy and the sound vibration. I just get a lot of sound vibration for you. And so being able to work with the sound vibration to change the energy of the space that you're in to be able to connect on a deeper level. So, so hopefully that helps for you. So yeah, that's what I'm getting there. So, gosh, I could keep doing this. May I pass a message? Yeah, Michael has a message there. This is so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining.
So much. Yeah.
And Michael, I think you have a message. Are you saying you have a message for someone as well? You want to type that in? So Michael is also a medium, and I believe he may or may not be a guest next week. So you're going to get triple trouble with with messages, so there'll be quite a bit there. So we're planning on doing this every Thursday, so that's the intent, unless something comes up, life happens. But like I said, we really enjoy doing this. This is our intent, is to really educate people about what we've done and how we've sort of evolved on our journey, and we continue to evolve and just evolve together, right? This is all a process and learning, and there is no right or wrong. It's trial and error. So we'll keep doing that, and we love doing readings. So this is what it's going to look like. And again, it'll evolve over time, but it was really fun to do it. So did you have? Oh, good. I'm so glad you guys joined. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And we'll be doing some kind of giveaways and stuff. Like at some point we'll figure it out. And I Tina, oh my gosh, you need to check me on how much I wave my hand. I guess that's the Irish in me. I talk with my hands. I'm like, wow, there's a lot going on. Okay. So anyway, so we'll figure out what that looks like as we go along, definitely. Let me see here.
Yeah, we'll wait for Michael here. We're coming to the end.
Yeah, okay. Lisa Stewart. Okay, so Michael's got a message there for Lisa Stewart. Okay, perfect. Okay. Sweet. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. All right. Yeah, we'll definitely do this again. Same time next week. We'll continue doing this, and feel free. We'll answer questions as we go along if there's anything you guys have, and then if there's any topics or anything you'd like to discuss, feel free to reach out and let us know. But we're going to kind of keep along the lines of developing mediumship and the journey. We could talk about that for years. And so we'll try to give it well-rounded conversation around that. So again, thanks everyone. Tina, any parting words you have?
No, just thank you so much, everyone, for all the love and for being here and supporting us. We truly appreciate that. And we look forward to coming back next week.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Have a good night. Have a good week, and happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.